We will be landing in about 2 hours, welcomed by God knows who, and we will head to God knows where. All I know is that there will be no more bombs, no more killings, no more shootings, and no more war. This new life will be so different. I'm not sure if I'm going to miss Syria or if I'm just not going back at all. Maya and Omar are way too exhausted to share their excitement with me, and my mother is devastated because they wouldn't let my dad come with us. As for the rest of the passengers, there's only mothers and children anticipating a fresh new start and a smooth landing in our new home. I don't know what we'll look like, but from the window we could see a lot of white. I heard winter in Canada is very cold, but I'm up for the challenge. The captain is saying something that seems to be like, prepare for landing. Just as my heart is about to burst out of my chest from anxiety, we landed. Walking out of the plane, I couldn't believe my eyes.
Fresh air floods my lungs. The relief from smoke and ash is overwhelming. A man deemed as the Prime Minister shakes my hand. He welcomes me into his country. My heart is bursting out of my chest. I hold on to Maya and Omar's hands, but we were free from each other once the copious amounts of food arrived. I savored the taste of sandwiches and candy, but felt full after a few bites. After all, I used to eat one piece of fruit or bread in Hamas. For a moment, everything is perfect. My mom was crying out of joy instead of sadness for once. The only thing left to make this new life complete would be to have our dad by our side.
Our apartment is so clean and fancy. I've never been in such conditions in my life. A feeling of relief and safety emerges inside of me. And then the phone rang. We weren't expecting a call from anyone considering we didn't know anyone there. That can only be from my father. My mom rushes to pick up the phone, and her tears inside confirmed what I thought. It was him. He told her he's okay and that there haven't been any major attacks since we left. And if everything goes okay, he should be taking a flight to Canada within the next week or two. I just hope he's fine.
This week, Baba is supposed to take his flight to Montreal. My siblings have been bouncing around the small apartment filled with zeal at the thought of seeing him. My mother, I think, is the most excited out of all of us. I don't think she and Baba have ever been apart for so long. The idea of seeing him will be the highlight of these past few stressful weeks. Finally, for the first time, a feeling of safety has engulfed us. We've been eating and laughing for the first time in what feels like years. A few days later, on the day of Baba's arrival, the TV announces that 300 people perished in a plane crash near Suran. No call from Dad. No answer from him either.
The loss of my father affected me more than anything, and I'm not used to the thought of never seeing him again. I feel like I'll always be waiting for him. I will always be waiting for that phone call. Having to tell Maya and Omar ripped my heart out of my chest just by seeing the look on their faces. We lost our dad, our savior, and our best friend. I've never seen my mom this devastated in my life. Even in Syria, when we lived in our sad misery and our lives were at risk every second of every day, I've never seen her this weak. She's been crying for days now, she hasn't said a word, and she doesn't want anything to do with Montreal or this new life we have. All she wants is to go back home in Syria and attend the funeral of the 150 people in which she could probably see my dad one last time.
I think I've forgotten what it feels like to smile. The simple action has become a foreign concept to my family, at least what is left of it. Mama is silent. She hasn't spoken to any of us in days. She stays in bed and refuses to talk to anyone besides my siblings in bed. One day, the doorbell rang. My sister rushed to get it, slowed down by Mama. No one has visited us since we got this apartment. She opened the door and began to weep, because standing before us was Baba, with a big smile on his face.